Postpartum stink. I'm sorry to tell you, it's a thing. I could take.
OBGYN went into Gaza, and she was talking about how she saw 300 aid trucks turned away. And the reason they were turned away is because Israel would not allow them to come in. They were full of diapers. Women who are pregnant in Gaza right now are dying, and so are their children, their babies. They are giving birth. They're having C-sections without any form of anesthetic, medication. C-sections with no anesthesia, just like children over 1,000 have been amputated without any sort of medication. Women are giving birth in the street. They're giving birth literally everywhere. A story of a woman who tried to make it to the hospital and an Israeli sniper shot her despite the fact that she's clearly pregnant and trying to get into the hospital. A woman who went into labor, she was waving a white flag to ensure that the Israeli offensive forces knew that she is a civilian giving birth. And they ran her over with a bulldozer. Look at all of these aid trucks, which Israel is not allowing into Gaza. These are organizations that are nonprofit verified in the United States. Israel is choosing to allow babies to starve in Gaza. Approximately 135,000 children are at risk for malnutrition. And this is a choice because all of these officials have said that there are no innocent civilians in Gaza, that all of Gaza should be burned and razed. This Israeli official talked about starving the people of Gaza and depriving them of medication and water and food. Over 25,000 civilians have been murdered, over 11,000 children, and thousands are still under the rubble unaccounted for. We have seen in a NICU, there is no electricity. So they've wrapped babies in aluminum foil and they're huddling them together in an incubator that has no electricity. One of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in my life is a NICU with the IOF forced the medical staff and families out on gunpoint. They promised to allow the Red Cross to come in and take the NICU babies out. They then refused that, left the babies to die. And weeks later, when the families and medical staff were allowed back in, they found decayed preemies with maggots all over their bodies. Anemia is one of the reasons why so many pregnant women bleed out and die when they give birth. One of the causes of anemia is malnutrition, and Gaza, outside of this genocide, had their calories restricted by Israel. In 2006, Dov Weissglass, who was a senior advisor to the then prime minister, said that Israeli policy was designed to put the Palestinians on a diet, but not make them die of hunger, in order not to die from starvation, but to be in a state of malnutrition. Save the Children said that 10% of children under 5 experience stunted growth due to prolonged malnutrition due to the blockade and siege. This is in 2012. 58.6% of Gaza's school children were anemic. And according to UNICEF, more than 90% of the water from Gaza is unsafe, and they cannot repair it because Israeli restrictions will not allow them to do so. Our tax dollars, as Americans, are funding genocide. While the mortality rate for pregnant women increases in the United States, while women cannot access healthcare because they cannot afford it and our country cannot afford to support so many pregnant women, our country gives billions of dollars to Israel every single year, millions of it specifically to support their economy, and the rest goes to their military, the same military which right now received billions in funding from us. And we can see the way they use it, in addition to dropping bombs, going into UN schools, rounding up the men, and then at gunpoint, executing babies, children, and the mothers. They also throw parties, get manicures, pedicures, massages, all on our dime. Pregnant women here in the United States cannot get access to care and are dying because we are funding a military which is killing pregnant mothers and their babies.